Hi everybody. Today I'm going to show you how I made my guest checks. First off, let me show you what we're going to need since I already have this out here. I've got some guest checks here. You don't have to use guest checks. You can use any kind of paper you want to, but I'm doing the guest checks. I've got various stamps that I have. And I've got inks. I'll go into more details on which ones I'm using when I'm using them. I've got a little spray bottle with some water in it. And I've also got a brush and a little container with a little bit of water. And some baby wipes to clean up my mess. We'll see how that goes. You know me, always a mess. So let me move this out of the way so I can show you what I'm going to be making today. I made these the other day. This one I messed up on. So anyway, you don't need to see that. They're just guest checks that I altered by putting ink. I made 2 or 3 of some of them. Ink on and stamping, and I think they turned out great. So I've had a lot of questions about how to do it. It's really simple, but for people that don't know about the inks and the stamps and everything, I thought I'd just show you my process. It's really simple, easy, and quick. And again, you don't have to use specifically any of these products that I'm using. I'm sure there's lots and lots of alternatives. Now, stamps, I will say these are some of my favorite stamps. They're background stamps. I hope let me take this piece of plastic off. Well, I'm hoping it's not too glary. You could just, they're big stamps. This is all one stamp on here. And that's what I like to use for these because, again, I'm not much with the patience. So now this set of stamps, it is 3 separate stamps, but they're fairly large, so they get to stay. My favorite one, and the favorite one seems to be of everyone. I don't actually have it right here. I do like this dragonfly, but I'm going to go grab my eyeball, and I'll be right back. Yes, I have 2 that are attached to me, obviously, but I can't stamp with them. Oh, okay, here it is. These are all WoodCraft stamps. That's the brand name. So if you want to look for any of these, there's the eyeball. And probably because Halloween's coming up, this is the first one that I tried this with, and it's my favorite, but then I tried some more. I like them all. WoodCraft is the manufacturer of these. I found them on scrapbooks.com. You can find them on Amazon sometimes. My suggestion would be type WoodCraft stamps into your search engine, and you can get them anywhere. They have a picture of a maple leaf on their label if that helps you find them. So okay, so we've got the guest checks. I like to get 2 or 3 out here because I don't like to waste my ink, and I always put too much ink out. So that depends how many I'm good. That determines how many I'm going to make based on how much ink I have. So what I'm using are Distress Oxides. Tim Holtz, they're by Ranger. Whatever colors you want, whatever colors you have. I've slowly collected these over time. I obviously can't afford to buy all these at once, but let me get out just a few colors. I don't know if I'll be using them all, but I definitely want to use the purple, which is Villainous Potion, and the orange, which is Spiced Marmalade. I want to use those for my eyeball because Halloween again. So I'm just going to stack these up here. I'll put a list of all the colors that I end up using. So what you do Let me move this out of the way. I have a larger desk than most because I'm actually using a folding table, so it's huge, but you never have enough space. So anyway, first thing I do is pick what stamp. I'm going to use the eyeball stamp, of course, because it's my favorite. We'll do that first. And I want to use the purple and the orange. It doesn't really matter which order you put your colors in, but what I do is I take this. This is a glass mat. You don't have to use glass. You can use anything. Maybe like those thin. I thought I had one here. Let me see. I know I do. Here we go. These come in really handy. These are those thin cutting boards. You can find them on Amazon, maybe at the dollar store. I don't know. I cut them down. This one, I used it as a cutting board, but then when it started to get wore out, I'm like, you know what? I could use this to glue on, and that's what you see is all this glue. So I cut it down. This is the biggest piece that I have. You could use something like this. Anything that's gonna make your ink, that's not gonna absorb your ink, because you want the ink to stay on the surface. A glass cutting board, a glass plate. This distressed oxides, they're water based, so you can wash it off. Just make sure you wash it really good. I don't know if they're non-toxic, so I don't want to make anybody sick. Acid free. Oh, non-toxic, but still don't eat it. Okay, so what I do is I get some ink, and this is going to be hard to see, the purple. I get some ink on my surface. Let me close this up. And then I take the water and just give it a little spritz. And then I have this little container of water and a brush. And I basically just use that to stir it up, to mix it, so I get the paint brush, but I'm using ink, get it mixed up with the water. Now they have sprays, the Oxide sprays. You can definitely use that, but cheapo over here. I already have the ink, so that's what I'm going to use. And then you take your paper, which in this case is a guest check, and you just dab it in random spots wherever you want it. Let's see. I don't know, maybe a little bit more up here. That'll be good for that. Let me grab another one, because see, I've still got all this ink left. And I'll do the same thing again. Just pushing it down into that ink, wherever you think you might want it to go. A little bit more over here, maybe. Okay. And I still have more ink, so that's why I have these more than one guest check handy. Oh, let me show you that. So that way I can keep mopping it up, basically. And depending on the paper that you use, you might have to do what I'm doing. Just let it sit there for a second to absorb it. Now, one thing I do want to do is clean my surface before I move on to any other ink. Now, see that? So I've wasted that ink, but I haven't really, because what I'll do is I'll let this baby wipe dry out, and I'll use that on something too. But you can see right here the oxides, how it gets different colors, and you'll see when I take my heat tool to this to dry it, it also changes. It oxidizes, basically. So let me put this over here. I'm going to get my heat tool, and I'm going to speed it up, and hopefully I'll remember when I'm editing the video to slow it back down. Yeah, that was a thing on my last video. But anyway, here we go. You need to dry these in between the layers, so your colors don't all run together and turn into some brown mud. So to just dry these real quick with my heat tool. Okay, so that's got our purple down. Now, and you know, it's dry. So let's go with the orange, or I'm sorry, the spiced marmalade. Put some of that down. Put the lid on that. Get the spritz. I guess I don't really need the spritz. You can just, since I'm using this wet, you get the purple, most of the purple ink out of there. Since I'm using this wet brush to mix it around, I guess you wouldn't have to use the spray. You could just use water. It doesn't matter what it's coming out of. Dab. Try to get the most of that ink off of that brush. Okay. Then just come in and I try to get the spots that don't have anything in orange. If you don't get everything covered, it's not a problem because we're going to stamp over this. But I do kind of want to get the major portions covered like this. I wouldn't leave all that blank because that's just too much. But there, that just fixed that problem. Get a little bit of this over here. Get some over here. Get some more. But you see where I'm putting the ink on top of the other ink? If this purple ink wasn't dry, those would be mixing together and it would just make some ugly color. A little bit more in this corner over here. I think that'll work. And then I'll just mop up the rest with this third one. Let's get some of this up here. And I'm getting it all over the place. Now, I don't recommend doing this, but I'm going to do it because I really don't want to waste this ink. Sometimes it will smudge on your paper, and you don't want that. So let me grab my baby wipe over here, get that cleaned up. See, you could use that for collage or something when you're done with it. It's going to have all these different, anyway. Or you can just throw it away. So let me get these dried, and then we'll start stamping. Now for my stamping on top, I use this Versafine. It's just black. The Versafine I like because these stamps, they're very detailed. And I don't know if it's the ink or if it's the pad. I don't know what it is. But when I have a very intricate stamp, I really like to use this because it picks up all the details. All right. Let me get my stamp ready. I don't have a stamp block that's big enough for this stamp. So I just leave it on this plastic and do the best I can. I do have a stamping platform, but I didn't get that out. I don't think it's necessary. I'm only going to stamp once because this ink is just awesome. So you want to load your stamp up with ink. And you want to stick your finger in it because, you know, it won't work until you do that. All right, just making sure I've got the ink everywhere on this. Okay. To cover this back up. And I'm going to have to turn this sideways so I can actually see what I'm doing. And then you just figure out where you want it. I'm just going to, and I just push it down and I let it sit for a second longer than you normally would if you're just stamping on plain paper, because I'm stamping over the Oxide ink and I just really want to make sure that it takes. So let's see how we, oh my gosh. See how awesome that is? I love it. And it's so easy. Now, the other thing that I do, and you can use whatever color you want. you could pick one of the colors out of here. I've done the black soot before. I think I'm going to do the black soot. Let me grab that real quick because I didn't get it out. Is this it? Yeah. And my dauber, inker, blender, whatever you want to call it. I think these are made for makeup. And I just do around the edges. And if you've got too much white, you can just blend that out a little bit with whatever your edge color is. And I think black works well with this. And it just tones that white right down. See? So it just makes it more, not so in your face. But I think that you need to have some, like in the background here, because it just really pops. Makes that eye pop. It's popping on its own. And then I do, I wanted to show you what I did with on the back with these. Grab my stencil because this looked so cool. And I had it out here at the ready. And then I just put it away while I was cleaning off my desk to get ready to make this video. There it is. I cleaned it and put away the wrong stuff. Okay. This is a Tim Holtz stencil, Stampers Anonymous. I got it off of Amazon. If I can find it there, I'll put a link to it. There's a number. It's THMM152. The top says Merry Christmas, so you have to be careful. Because one of the ones I did, half of it says Merry Chris, because I went too far. But what I did on the back of these, because on a couple of them, and I thought it looked really cool. Let me get some more ink on here. Is I just went around the edges with this stencil. Okay. I have to remember, don't get the letters. It's Merry Christmas and Happy Halloween all at the same time. Which you don't have to wait and use the eyeball only at Halloween, but. And then I'm going to put some across the bottom here. Okay, now. Get a little bit more ink on here. I keep forgetting about my camera being shaky when I'm loading up my ink, so I try to lift it up when I'm doing it. So I apologize for the shaky camera. Okay. So that's what I did on the back. Oh, look where the ink came through. It looks like rust. So I did this on the back, and it sort of goes with the triangles that are on the front. I don't know. I just thought that was cool looking. You could still write on the back of this. What you could also do with these is you can back them with coffee dyed paper or any, lined paper, whatever you want, and glue them on there. Glue it on there. You can stitch around them. Did I stitch any of mine? I don't think I stitched any of mine. What did I do with them? Here they are. Did I stitch? You know what? I did stitch one. A lady, she's so nice. She lives in Australia, and she asked me, when I posted the pictures of these on Facebook, she commented and asked me what was a guest check because she didn't think that they were available in Australia. So I explained to her what it was, and I have a bunch of these, plain, blank ones. So I sent her a few in the mail, and I enclosed one of these that I made the other day. And what I did is I got a scrap piece of coffee dyed paper and put it on here, cut it to the size, and then I stitched around it on my sewing machine with a zigzag stitch. So when you turned it over, you could actually use it as a journaling card. So you could do that. You could make a tag out of this. You don't even have to use a guest check. You could get a tag. Let's see, do I have a tag? Yes. In my big box of tags, I have a tag. Let's see. Do I want to use, I don't know, I've got a white one. What did I make this out of? That's packing paper on the back, and I think this is an ice cream box. I don't know. You know how crazy I am. But do I want that color? Oh, here's one. I don't even know what that is. But we'll use that too. So we've got brown and white. Because I haven't tried it on the tags. But we're getting ready to find out how that's going to work. So we get this back over here. So we made this. But you see how easy it was? You just put your colors down and then stamp the black on top. You could use a different color ink on top if you want. That's how easy it is to make these. But let me try this real quick. And I've still got these two that I have to stamp with the eyeball. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me stamp the eyeball because so you can see the difference. So here's the one we did, and it's the eyeball is pretty much white. Let me get some more ink on my stamp. But based on where your colored ink is on your guess check, your eyeball is even going to be a different color. So got the ink on there. Press her down. So yeah, obviously if you have a big enough acrylic block to adhere this stamp to, that would probably be better, but I don't. So see the difference with the eyeball? Got a little jaundice going there. But I just thought that these were really cool and simple as long as you have the stuff. And if you don't have these particular stamps, you could use smaller stamps. You can use whatever you have. You can stamp on it and then use your inks if you wanted to color different parts of it. Like say you knew that you wanted the eyeball to be whatever. You could stamp it on there first and then use your brush and with your ink that you mixed with water or watercolors. Watercolors would also work. And do it after you stamp the eyeball on there. You don't have an eyeball, you have a dragonfly, you have butterflies, you have whatever kind of stamp. Or, if you're artistic, which I'm not, and you can draw it yourself, you don't need to use a stamp. That works too. So, and let me just wipe this ink off my stamp really quick. Because I love this stamp and I don't want it to get messed up. Plus, I also don't know what I'm doing with stamps. I just started doing this stuff not too long ago, so I guess it's been a little over a year. I know they sell stuff, specific stuff that you can use to clean off your stamps. These baby wipes, and these are just the cheapest ones I could find because I'm not actually using them on a baby. They weren't great, and I was going to save that, but it's kind of blah now, so it won't be saved. It'll just be going in le garbage. You can also just off stamp it. You can get a scrap piece of paper, just keep stamping until it doesn't stamp anymore. Then you know they got all the ink off. So anyway, here's the 3 eyeballs. They're all different, but yet they're all the same, but they're all different. And the backs, I did that one. You could leave it plain because you can write over that. You can do however you want. You can back it onto something that's got a little more firmness to it if you want to make a card out of it. Okay, so we got those. Now let's real quick do these tags. I don't know how they're going to turn out. Like I say, I've never done them before, but we're going to give it a go. Let's use some different colors because everything doesn't have to be about what's currently going on with Halloween. Although, is it even going on with Halloween? Because it's still summertime. So let's pick something else. What have I got over here? Got this dragonfly, butterflies, robin. This is bicycle. This steampunk thing I haven't used yet. And then I've got these numbers. I love these numbers. Maybe I'll do the numbers. Let's see, how wide is that? That's not really wide enough, but it's wide enough for this one. So I'm going to use the numbers on that. And I'm going to use the dragonfly. Why not? Okay, so I've got the dragonfly stamp. Get this over here out of the way. We'll do the dragonfly first. So, colors. Let's see. I did a dragonfly. Let's see what colors I used for that. No. Oh my gosh. They would be on the bottom, wouldn't they? Okay. I used Uncharted Mariner. Look at my hands with the ink. Okay. And what did I use? This was none of these. I think it was the Seedless Preserves. Okay, that's what I used to make those two colors. Was Seedless Preserves and Uncharted Mariner. So let's do that on this tag here. So we got to get our ink. I'm not going to put a whole lot because I'm just making the one tag. And I'm not even going to spritz it, okay? I'm just going to use the water that's on this brush and see how that works. Look at there. You don't even need the sprayer. Okay, but you know, I had it already, so I thought, well, it'd be all fancy. Don't even need to be fancy. All right. Here we go. Just start dabbing it on there. I got a little much on that bottom. Just in one big gloopity glob. Okay, I am not wasting that ink. Let me grab another tag real quick. Let's try a brown one and see what it looks like on the brown. What have I got here? A brown. This will work. Okay. Which side do I want to do it on? I need to trim that off. I'll do that later. We're going to do it. I don't know how well this cardboard is actually going to pick this ink up. Oh, I don't like that already. But we'll continue. No, I don't. Let me try the other side. It's also brown. I don't like it. Okay. I'm going to keep going, though, because I'm not going to waste this. You never know. Once the blue gets on here, maybe it'll perk it up some, but I'm not too happy with that. All right. Get a baby wipe. All right. Get all this ink out of the brush there as much as I can. Sorry about that. Go with the blue, which is hard to see on the black. Yes, I know I've got a white spot over here. Do I use that? Of course not. Anyway, let's get our water in here to get this wet. Okay. Get that ink off of there. And let's see what we've got here. Oh, yeah, that's going to be cool. Put some over there on the other side. And maybe a little bit down here in the corner. And some on top. You know what I did? Oh, my gosh. I forgot to dry this first. Did I get lucky or what? All right. Let me dry this real quick. Because this one's already not looking that great. So I want to make sure I dried it before I put it in this blue. No, I am just not liking that brown at all. Look at that. Looks terrible. Oh, I don't like it at all. You know what, though? It is kind of grungy. Oh, it can be salvaged. Don't you worry. All right, let me get this ink up out of here. And finish drying these real quick. All right. That's just not the look I was going for, but it is a look. All right. And still, we haven't stamped it yet. Okay. Dragonfly. Let me check, though. Is that even going to fit on here? That's not even going to fit on here. Okay. We're not using the dragonfly. Sorry about that. Because it's this wide, and my tag, the wings aren't going to be on there, so that's not going to be a good choice. So, sorry about that. Let's see, what's this? Oh no, I don't want to do steampunk for this. The bicycle, again, that's too wide. Do the bird. What about the butterfly? We'll do the butterfly. The butterfly's going to work. We're not going to get this entire stamp on there, but I can get the majority of that butterfly on there. Yes, I can. So, since I'm going to be over stamping on this tag, I'm going to get this scrap piece of paper out because I don't want to get the ink on here. If I did get it on there, I could just clean it off, but I already had this here. So let's get some ink on our stamp. And on our hands, because, you know, that's how I roll. And I've got some on the edge, and I've since learned that that's called a halo. So I'm just going to wipe that off of the stamp, just in the off chance that I get it on there, because I don't want it. Okay, again, I'm going to have to turn this sideways so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to position this butterfly best I can with these eyeballs that I have, so that I can get it, the majority of it, on there. Let's try that. Well, we're down now, boys and girls. We got to take what we get. You know, one of these days I'll get my stamping platform out and show you how that's used. And it's less chance for error. Oh, wow. Look at that. Let me go ahead and get this ink off of this stamp while I'm thinking of it. There. Cover it back up with the cover that I don't know where the heck it's at. I'll sort that out later. You don't need to know my problems. Okay. Look at this tag we just made. We just made this. You'll never find another one like it anywhere on the whole planet, because I have the tools that I used, and there's no way that I could reproduce it to where it looks exactly like this. And you can do whatever you want with the back, which I wouldn't do anything. Right on there. Just ink around the edges. You could use either one of these colors, or black, or antique paper, vintage paper, whatever you want to ink. Anyway, so that worked out good. Now this thing, no, it's looking pretty rough, but we're going to use these numbers and see if it improves any. So let me make sure my numbers are up the correct way. And I don't need to ink this whole stamp because the tag isn't that long. So yeah, that ought to be good. Let's see if we can improve on this. If we can't, I'll cover it up with some pretty paper later. But it looks, I don't know. It's definitely different than the other one. So let's see what we get here. I forgot to put my paper down. It's not the end of the world. Ooh, I've got some beautiful fingernails, don't I? Well, look at there. Look at there. Not too bad. Not too bad. I like it. And I did get ink everywhere. Let me wipe that up before I have a major disaster on my hands, which I will, no doubt. I'll clean that later. You don't need to see that. Not too bad. Completely different from this one. Even though it's got the same colors because it was on brown, so it changed the colors. And it's just a completely different vibe. So let's see, what all did we make? We've got these 2 tags and these 3 guest checks. So, different colors, different stamps, different materials. Very easy, simple, quick. You can, the world is your oyster with these. Let your imagination run wild. Any of those things. Yeah. And I even did something funky on the back for that one. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope anybody that wasn't sure what I was talking about the ink and letting it dry between the layers, that's what I meant. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, great evening, whatever time you're watching this video. I do want to thank everybody that has subscribed or just stopping by because you're like, what in the world is that eyeball thing? If you want to subscribe and help me get to 1,000 subscribers, that'd be great. If you don't, either way, I'm glad you're here and I hope you enjoyed the video. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye.